Welcome back to RBD Block Challenge. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on block number 3, designed by Christopher Thompson. It's called Threaded, and I have made mine in batiks, but I'm going to also show you what it looks like in our solids. The pattern is written for both, or you can choose your own fabrics, whatever you like. So the first thing you're going to want to do is download the pattern from the Riley Blake Designs website. Again, it's called Threaded. Isn't it a cute block? It's going to be so much fun to make. Gives you all the cutting instructions for batiks and solids, but you can easily translate that to whatever fabric you choose to sew with. I have cut out my pieces in batiks and I've labeled them. Now we're ready to get started on creating this block. The first thing it says to do in the pattern is to grab your B squares, and then you're going to grab 2 of your D squares, and then both of your E squares. Now you're going to mark corner to corner on the white squares. Unless you have a Seam Sew Easy guide, then you can skip this step, and I do, so I'm just going to mark 1 of the squares, and that is going to be your guide, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side of the line. So you're going to pair it with 2 of your D and 2 of your E squares, right sides together. And again, there doesn't seem to be a right or wrong side with batiks, so as well as solids, you can get away with just putting them any old way. So you're going to pair those up together. And take it to the machine, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side of the line. And if you have a Seam Sew Easy guide, I'll just show it how it works on that. This is a 1/4 inch foot right here. I line that 1/4 inch on the tip, on that corner right there, and align it on the corner here, not the center line. And that's how I get started on that, and you just follow that all the way. Make sure that line right there stays right there, and that's how you use your Seam Sew Easy guide. But if you don't have a Seam Sew Easy guide, then you're going to use that line right there and line it up with your 1/4 inch foot. Just sew like that. You're chain piecing these squares, so we flip them over to the other side. So on the other side. Okay, bring it back here. You've just made 2 half square triangles with each of these squares. Just clip the threads in between. And just cut right in the middle. If you have your line marked there, that becomes your cut line. Now these are ready to be pressed, but you have 2 more to do, and these are 2 colors together. So you've got your D and your F, and you're going to do the same thing. And I guess you could do them all at once. So you're chaining all of these together. Okay, I'm not going to mark these, but again, if you got a seam, mark them corner to corner. If you don't have a Seam Sew Easy guide, otherwise I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of that center line. So clip those real quick. Let's give them a little cut right down the middle. Now let's go give these a press over at our pressing station. Press them open. Kind of just do a little heat to set the seams, make it easier to open up these blocks. I'm gonna press one at a time. And a reminder, I used the sharp microcheck needle in my stitching, and my stitch length is 2.0 when I am sewing these batiks. Okay, we're ready to square these up. The pattern tells you to square them to 2 inches. They're gonna be a little bit bigger than that. So this square up tool is helpful, but it's 2.5 inches, so you kind of have to pull it out to that line right there. Make sure that center line is lined up. You shave a little bit off, then get rid of that dog ear. We get to do that for all of our half square triangles. Okay, last one. This does take a minute, but they have to be squared down, and it makes a big difference in your finished block in the center that these are accurate, 2 inches. So these are all 2 inches. Let's clear up our little workspace right here. Put that down here. Now we're ready to lay out our block with all of our pieces. So let's lay out. Now follow the pattern, because these two-tone colors, these 2 different colors, are your center pinwheel of the block right here. So we're gonna lay it out like that, and just make sure you have them going the right way, because they can get turned on you. Let's see, up there like that, and over like that. So there's our center pinwheel, that. Now, it's a very subtle change, but this is a little more orange, that's a little more pink. This is the same pink in this center pinwheel that you're gonna wanna extend out in the block. So these 2 are gonna go together like that. So to keep myself straight, I do lay those out next. Let's see, like that, and then like that, and then the little orange squares. Like that, and like that. Oh, I missed a little dog ear right there. Clip that out. And then you grab your A squares. They're gonna go out like this. So I like to have that arranged. Okay, so we have that center all laid out. In the pattern, before you start assembling this, it has you grab these long, beautiful teal pieces to make the top and bottom of your spool. Again, you're supposed to mark these corner to corner, and that's gonna be, so just like this. If you don't have a Seam So Easy guide, you're gonna mark corner to corner. Now this time that is going to be your stitch line. Now I'll show you how to work it if you have a Seam So Easy guide. It's just a handy tool that saves you a step. So that is marked, and you've got a top and bottom piece. We'll just chain piece these together. Okay, so you're gonna sew one of these squares on each side, and you need to make sure they're going the right direction. So this, for this layout, it's gonna go up this side and then kind of down the opposite. I mark this one, you can even put a pin on there if you'd like, but you don't want to be unpicking, so make sure that is the same on that side. And they're marked specifically because I'm not marking these. I'm just going to use my Seam So Easy guide. I'll show you how this works. Because that center line is what I want to stitch across, I put the center, well, I put my stitch right there, and I'm going to sew corner to corner. So I line up this middle mark right here, and I'm going to line up this corner right here, and I sew straight. Well, it's all lined up. This is the marked one. Just chain piece those together. Clip that in between. All right, let's clip our threads. Take a look, make sure those are mirror images of each other, and then you can trim down to 1/4 inch from the seam on both sides. And then we'll take it to the pressing station and press them open. Okay. These are finished, the top and bottom of your spool, so we'll put them over there for now. Now it's time to assemble the center of our block, which is our beautiful star. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can make your pinwheel. You can do this little 4-patch pinwheel in the center, do your 2 sides and do like a row at a time. I'm going to show you the way I assemble it, the center of this block. I just do it in rows like this. I flip them over like that. When I'm beginning, you can throw a pin in to remind you where the top part of where you're sewing, but I'm kind of lining them up, so I'm not going to pin this time. Take it over to your machine. Using your 1/4 inch seam allowance, you're just going to sew down that row. Just be very sure where the top of your block is and what side you're sewing on. Okay, we bring it over here. Make sure our layout is correct. I do not cut my threads in between. That looks good. Check your pattern, good to go. Now we're gonna put that other row over that center row. And this is where I do pin. So when you're moving these squares over to your machine, it gets a little fiddly, so you want to make sure your half square triangles stay in place. Now right here I can nest my seams right there. So if you have an opportunity to nest your seams, make sure they line up. These don't necessarily nest right there, but you want to make sure you line them up right there. So you're going to have a little bulk right there. Just ease your machine over that bulk. Some people may choose to open up their seams. It's your choice if you like to do that. I am leaving my seams flipped to one side. Okay, I don't press in between. I just bring it back over here and line it up, making sure it's still, all my pieces are where they need to be. I'm going to pin this last side like that, flipped over. Not cutting my threads in between, it just holds everything into place. All right, take a look. That's how it's supposed to look. Now we just have 1, 2, 3 more seams. This is where I press my seams the direction I want them to go, because I do want them to nest. So I'm going to press all these seams going that direction, and all these seams, you can finger press them, or you can take them to your ironing station and give them a good press. I'm going to give them a good finger press instead. And I'm going to pin those intersections right here. There's a little bit of bulk there. So just press it flat with your fingers. And I pin it all while I'm right here. So those are all going that direction. These are going to go the opposite. I just give it all a good pin right here. Last seam to pin together, then we'll take it to the machine and sew. Okay, take a look. That's looking good. Let's give it a good press. We want to get this as flat as possible. I am kind of just gonna, there's a little bulk right in the middle, so I'm just gonna kind of flip those seams right in the center there and give it a press from the outside. So there's where that pinwheel comes together, it's just a little less bulky. So that is good and pressed now. It should measure 6.5 inches for your center. So just give it a quick check and see if that is 6.5 inches. Okay, it's just slightly bigger, but I don't know if I even hardly need to trim it. just hairs. And just in this spot right there. So we're ready to start assembling our quilt block now that we have this center star in place. So the next thing we need to do is we need to add our eye on both sides of here. And then after that, the H will be added. I'm just going to lay this out. Then our C on both sides. Then our final, the top of our spool, which is flipped that way and that way. So let's just bring it over here to our sewing station and work on one side at a time. Let's add the two sides to the side of our block. Let's give it a press there. Oh, I love how that green looks. Next to that, that looks good. You want to see your tips right on the edge right there. That's just where we want them to be. Now let's take the H on the top and put it on the bottom as well. Okay, let's put that right there. Now you can always choose to flip it over and sew from the back side, and then you can make sure your points are not cut off when you're sewing. Okay, let's take a look. You see those points? Right there, right there. So perfect. Give this a press. And that is the top and bottom. And now we need to do our two side pieces, C. So right sides together. Both sides. Okay, we press as we go. And just let that sit on there. Oh, the block is coming together. We just have the top and bottom of our spool of thread. That should just line up. You can choose to pin or not, but everything is lining up perfectly. So I am choosing not to pin. All right, let's give it one final press. Open that up. What I love to see is that point lining right up on the side. Right there, that's just as good as it gets. We'll just let that cool right there with the clapper on there. Again, you see that point just lining up so perfectly. Give it a little clap if you'd like. Okay, our block's almost finished. We just need to make sure it's the right size. So get out your 10.5-inch square up ruler. Let's line up this block. See that long diagonal line? Take a look. And there's nothing I need to trim. That's a good feeling. The block is finished, it's ready to go. We can't wait to see what Christopher Thompson does with his fabric and his block. And as always, we welcome your comments. These were my tips of how to create this block, but we'd love to hear from you. So join us next time for block number 4, Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Jennifer Long.